All right, I'm going ahead and starting. Oh. These lights, I'm gonna leave the door open because I know there's gonna be people straggling in. Monday of next week, and let me put the little doo-diddy back up there that we had. I just pulled up chapter 6 notes, so I totally forgot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many weeks it was, but that's close enough. We have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we are on Thursday, the 22nd, 27, 29, 43, 5, 10, 12, 17, 19, 24, 26, and then we have exam week. So, after today, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 classes after today and the final exam. That's it. Okay? I know. Two dates that I want to make sure you're aware of. March 26th, so 3/26, that is the last day to withdraw without academic penalty. So if you're in a full semester class and you're thinking, gosh, I don't know if I'm going to pass, or I don't know. So this coming Monday is the last day to withdraw without academic penalty if you think you need to get out. And if you have financial aid, make sure that you talk to financial aid first, okay? The other day that I want you to know is 4/2. 4/2 is the first day to register for fall or summer. So, and it starts at 12:01 a.m. So you can actually get out there on WebAdvisor and start registering for fall and summer classes. So those two things you need to make sure, if you need to withdraw, March 22nd, 26th, and the last day to first day to register for fall or summer classes is April 2nd. Now, I have some people that say, I don't know if I want to go to summer. Remember, it's just another semester for us. It's not a bad thing. If you just want to finish early for school, we have people that go year-round. If you do get financial aid, you may want to check with financial aid to see if you get summer. Some people do get financial aid in the summer and some people don't. And then there's fall. Fall, the FAFSA is good for fall, spring, and summer. So fall would be a new FAFSA. And if you've already done your taxes for this past year, we're in tax season. If you've already done your taxes, you can go ahead and start applying for FAFSA that starts in the fall. We good? So those are the only things that I really needed to talk about for the upcoming weeks because we're getting down to the kind of the wire. Now we're getting into chapter 6. And as I've told you before, the majority of your test is going to be chapter 6 because the chapter 7 stuff, there's not that many problems because they just take so long. So, sorry, Amber. There's not that many problems just because they take so long. So we're going to be doing a lot of chapter 6. We're going to start with 6.1. There's only one question. We're going to spend quite a while in 6.2, and then not long in 6.3, and then a little bit in 6.4 and 6.5. So that's kind of where we're headed right now. 6.1, really easy. A lot of people mess this up just because they can't remember what statistically significant means. So y'all know me by now. I come up with some stupid way to make you remember it.
No, some smart way.
So here is my way to remember it. The definition that we need to remember is called statistically significant. So if something is statistically significant, I say that it's shady. Okay? So like if you're going into child support case and there's 6 women in the jury, your baby daddy's gonna say, something's shady in here, okay? So it is statistically significant if it's looking shady. It is not statistically significant if it's not shady. So if you walk into a courtroom and there's 3 guys and 3 girls on the jury, then it's not shady, it looks okay. So it's shady if it's statistically significant, it's not shady if it's not statistically significant. That's the way I remember it. Is it looking fishy, is it looking something up, or is it looking okay? Okay, so that's how I remember it. Because if you read the definition's not going to make sense, or it's going to seem the opposite of what it should be. So they're going to give us some examples, and then they're going to give us some problems to look at. A detective in Detroit finds that 25 of the 62 guns used in crimes during the past week were sold by the same gun shop. Well, y'all, in Detroit, there are a ton of gun shops. There's gun shops everywhere. So the fact that almost half of the guns came from one gun shop, something sounded a little bit shady. So this is sounding shady to me, that half of them came from that one little hole in the wall. So this one is shady or statistically significant. If there were 62 crimes and only 2 came from that gun shop, then I wouldn't be worried. You with me? Because there's so many gun shops, having that many from one is unlikely to have occurred by chance, which means something going on. It sounded a little bit shady. So it is statistically significant. All right, here's another one, and they do boring problems, but anyway. In the terms of global average temperature, 5 of the years between 1990 and 1999 were the 5 hottest years in the 20th century. Having the 5 hottest years is statistically significant. So, if we talk about 1900 to 1999, or as my daughter says, Mama, that was in the 1900s. Really? Really?
That's
All the time, I know, all the time she'll say, Mama, that was all the way back in the 1900s. I said, I was born then. I know. So if we're talking about 100 years of the top 10 temperatures, 5 of them were right there. That's pretty shady. Well, we know it's because of global warming. But you think that they would be spread out. You think that there would be like one here and one, pen's doing crazy things, one there and one there. But for 5 of them to be so closely clustered together, that seems kind of shady, but we know that it's because of global warming. So for 5 of them to be right there together, that seems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That seems kind of shady for them to be right there together with a 100-year span. All right. Y'all, we just went through March Madness. I didn't watch it. The team with the worst win-loss record in basketball wins one game against the defending champions. That's not supposed to happen. The best team is usually supposed to play the best team. So you're thinking, something shady going on. That crappy team just beat one of the best teams. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, something shady going on. That's a crappy team. Why did they beat this good team? And that's what people have been talking about on the radio. Everybody's March Madness brackets are screwed because people are beating people that weren't supposed to be beating people. And we know it's not shady. We know it's not rigged. But in the back of our head, we're thinking, that shouldn't have happened. Okay? So we call that statistically significant because mathematically that shouldn't have happened. These are the teams that should be in there. not these poo-poo teams. Okay, so statistically, we call that statistically significant because that was not supposed to happen. The crappy teams were supposed to lose out, and the good teams were supposed to make it. So, we're going to do some problems, and you're going to tell me, are the problems statistically significant, which means they're shady, or are they not statistically significant, which means they're not shady, which means they sound okay. We have 9 through 16. So you're just going to tell me, are they statistically significant or are they not statistically significant? Do they sound okay, which means not statistically significant, or do they sound a little bit fishy, which would be shady or statistically significant? DJ's here, Trish here. Amy's here, Jacob's here, Bree's here, Sue's here, Ariel's here, Ashley's here, Tracy's here, Amber's here, Jada's here, Tom's here, Heather is not. Jessica's here, Regina is not, Jared's here, Carly is here, Jamie's here, and Calvin's here. So is it statistically significant or is it not statistically significant? Scroll a little bit. Right now, I'm just here. Shady or fishy means it's statistically significant, and not shady or okay means it's not statistically significant. top. In a survey, 50 students are randomly selected among all college students currently taking a statistics course, and it's found that all the students are female. What would you say?
Shady.
That sounds a little bit shady. There's got to be a couple boys up in there, okay? So this one is shady, fishy, so we would say the answer is statistically significant. Good? In a pre-election survey, 100 likely voters are randomly selected for adults in the United States, and it's found that 6% are Democrats. Shady or not shady? Shady, because the two main parties are Democrat and Republican. So about half should be Democrat and half should be Republican, and then we should throw in some liberals and other, and so this seems a lot low. So I would say this is pretty shady. I would say statistically significant. In 6 rolls of a 6-sided die. Now, a lot of us don't know what a die is. It is one dice. If you have 2 of them, it's a dice, which is what most of people play. But if you have 1, it's a die. The outcome of 6 never occurs. Shady or not shady?
Shady.
If I'm only gonna roll a die 6 times, that's not a lot. So if I roll it once, I get a 5. If I roll it a second time, I get a 3. If I roll it another time, I get a 4. If I roll it another time, I get a 3. Now, if I said I rolled it 500 times and never got a 6, that would be shady. But 6 times, it's okay in 6 rolls. So for this one, I would say not shady. So it would be not statistically significant. But if I said 100 rolls or 500 rolls, I better see all numbers in 100 rolls. All right, a common lottery game is to select 4 digits, and each between 0 and 9. Winning requires that you get the same 4 digits that are drawn, and they must be in the same order. Y'all, this is called pick 4. If you go and say, give me a number between 0 and 4, 1, give me another number, 5, give me another number, 3, give me another number, 9, and you watch the news tonight, and they don't call your number, should you be surprised? No. Okay, so is this going to be shady or not shady? Not shady. I should not be surprised that my number's not called. This is why Ms. Cooper does not play the lottery. Okay, so this is not statistically significant. In conducting a survey of adults in the U.S., the pollster randomly selects 20 subjects, and all of them are women. Pervert.
Or a ladies' man.
Ladies' man, there we
You might
go.
be a bachelor.
There we go.
The bachelor.
Statistically significant. A commuter enters a subway and finds that all the subway people are 50 men, all that are bald.
Yeah, that's shady.
That's
Very
shady.
shady.
That's like you
very-
walking on a bus or in a room and there's like 10 pregnant people and you're like, oh, let me get out of this room. Okay? This one is shady. Something's going on here. Statistically significant. That one's shady. For a trial on failure to pay child support, the jury consists of 6 men and 6 women. Not shady. If it was all women or all men, then I would be saying, I'm worried.
It would be biased.
It would be biased.
My brain is working.
I know. It's amazing how all of this comes together. In a clinical trial of a new drug, so they're trying out this drug to see if it treats allergies. 5 of the 80 people in the treatment group, the ones that got the real drug, 5 people of the 80 had a headache. 8 of the 160 people in the no drug group, no drug, had a headache. Should we say shady, something's going on, or should we say not shady?
Not shady.
Everybody's gonna have a headache, whether they take a drug or not. But if I would have said 72 people out of 80 had a headache, and 143 people out of 160 people had a headache, then I'm gonna say, hey, maybe this drug is causing a headache and not preventing a headache. This would be shady. But this one is not gonna be shady because there's not enough people for me to say the drug is causing the headache. There's not a correlation between the medicine and the headache. So this one's gonna be not statistically significant.
Number 15.
No, it's not. My bad. It was. There we go. So you're gonna have one question on your test. Maybe this one. You're gonna have one question on your test that says, give an event, state if it's statistically significant or not statistically significant. Is it shady or is it not shady? That's it. That's 6.1. Easy breezy.
Dang it, you could have put 20 in it.
I know. And we're gonna talk about this later, so I'm not even going into that. Now we're gonna talk about probability. Y'all, what does probability mean to you when you hear probability? The chances of something happening. You know, I use probability all the time. When I go into a store and I see, you know, hair bows sitting on or pens. If I walk into like the bank and I see a thing of black pens and there's a red pen, I'm like, what's the chances that I close my eyes and pull out a red pen? I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, no matter where I go, you know, what's the probability that I reach into my pocket and pull out, you know, a quarter? Or what's the probability that I reach in my wallet and pull out $1 instead of a 20? Or probably there's no money in there, so the probability is 0, okay? So probability is the chances that something happened. So we're going to spend a lot of time on probability. What's the probability that something's going to happen? So, first thing that we need to talk about is the difference between outcomes and events. Outcomes, outcomes means one thing makes me happy. An event is if more than one thing makes me happy. Okay? And the way I keep it straight, the O in outcome is like the O in one. The O in outcome is like the O in one. So if I think about a deck of cards, a 2 of hearts, there's only one 2 of hearts in that deck of cards. So there's only one card that can make me happy. If I tell you to roll a die, and I want a 3, do you agree there's only one side that has a 3 on it?
Yeah.
If I tell you to flip a coin and I want heads, there's only one heads that's going to make me happy. So, if there is only one thing that can make me happy, that is called an outcome. Now, an event is if there's more than one thing you can do that makes me happy. So if for cards, I told you, I'll be happy if you give me a red card. There's lots of red cards in that deck. So there's lots of different cards you could give me to make me happy. That would be an event. If I told you on a die, give me an even number. You could give me a 2, a 4, a 6. That would be an event. So if there's only one answer that makes me happy, it's an outcome. If there's more than one answer to make me happy, that would be an event. We're going to do a couple of these. Now, we're going to be tossing coins, we're going to be picking cards, we're going to be doing lots of things that deal with probability. So this first one says we're going to flip some coins. So, we have two tails, a tail and a tail. We have one tail, one head. We have one head, one tail, and we have two heads. So those are called outcomes. Okay, there's outcomes means there's one thing that makes me happy. So if I want a tail, there's only one way that I can flip a tail and a tail. There's only one way that I can say I want a tail on the first coin and a head on the second coin. There's only one way I can do that. There's only one way that I can flip a head on the first coin and a tail on the second coin. There's only one way I can get a head and a head if I'm flipping two coins. So those are outcomes, which means there's only one way to make me happy. Outcome is the one way to make me happy. Now, the events, which we're going to do in just a second, hold on. The events is if I say, I just want 0 heads, or I want 1 head, or I want 2 heads. And it has it right here, 0 heads, 1 head, there's more than one way to make me happy with 1 head. Let's do some more, I'm getting the look.
Yeah, no.
Hold on. You're going to tell me if it's an outcome, which is one way to make me happy, or if it's an event, which is more than one way to make me happy. Tossing a head with 1 fair coin. Now, fair just means I didn't do anything illegal to it. It's not a double-sided coin. So is there one way or more than one way for me to toss a coin and get a head? There is only one way for me to get a head on a coin. So is it an outcome or event?
Outcome.
This is an outcome. Tossing 2 heads with 3 coins. Because I could do a head, head, tail. I could do a head, tail, head. I could do a tail, head, head. You with me? As long as I can think of more than one way to make me happy, it's going to be an event. This makes me happy, this makes me happy, this makes me happy. There's more than one way to make me happy. Rolling a 6 with a fair die. Rolling 1 die and getting a 6. That would be an outcome because I want to roll a die and I want a 6 to be on the top. There's only one way to do that. Rolling an even number with a die. That would be an event because I could roll a 2, I could roll a 4, or I could roll a 6 and I would be happy. Rolling a sum of 7 with 2 fair die. First of all, what does the word sum mean? The total when you add. So now I have 2 dice, and I want those 2 dice, the answers that I see on those 2 dice, to add up to 7. It's an event, so give me at least 2 ways that it would make me happy. 3 and 4,
6 and 1.
6 and 1, 4 and 3, 5 and 2. If I can think of more than one way that makes me happy, it makes it an event. Hold on. Hold on. Now, a lot of us don't know about cards. And you will remember on the first and second test, they gave you that laminated paper with the deck of cards on it. They are going to give that to you now for this test because some of you don't know about cards. So, let me Google so that I can have so that we can talk about cards for people who don't know about cards. Oh, crap. Let's just deal.
That kind of looks like it up there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna steal,
Those are all decks of cards.
yeah, I'm just gonna steal a picture to suck over so that we can talk about them so that I don't have to draw them. All right, and this is kind of like what the picture looks